Hi everyone, welcome back. It's been a long time, hasn't it? I apologise for not getting tutorials up a little sooner. I had planned on getting one up last week, but you know, it just wasn't in me. Do you understand what I mean? I just couldn't get the inspiration to pick up the brushes and start painting after losing my mum. It's still very kind of fresh in me. It's only 2 weeks since we lost her, so it's still very kind of fresh, and it's been very, very tough the last 3 weeks or so, you know. So yeah, I'm back now. I'm going to do this lovely painting. I think she would have liked it. It's a lovely crashing wave coming up and around. I did have something similar on my channel a long time ago, but it just disappeared off my channel. I don't know where it's gone. I don't know where I put the tutorial on my hard drive. I just cannot find it anywhere. So I'm going to do a similar one. Lovely turquoises, greens, that kind of thing, and try and capture the effect of the wave crashing up and coming right overhead as if you were a surfer, okay, something along those lines. So I'm going to try that this week for you, okay? I hope you don't mind. It's been 3 or 4 weeks now since I picked up my brushes, so I may be a little bit rusty. I hope you understand and do forgive me. So it's going to be a bit of a challenge for me personally now, just to kind of get the feel of the painting, get the feel of the brushes, that kind of stuff. So it's going to take a little bit of time for me now to get back into this kind of mindset. Do you know what I mean? So listen, thank you so much for being so patient. Thank you so much for all your support. You've been really, really kind and generous. So yes, I appreciate everything. Thank you so much. Let's crack on. I have a canvas here ready and waiting, and my paints are out. I'm looking forward now to kind of doing this and getting my teeth into this painting. So don't go anywhere. It's going to be fun. I hope you like it. Okay, there's the photograph. Isn't that just wonderful? Now I have a 16 by 12 canvas here. I primed it once with a primer, just a water-based white undercoat kind of a primer, okay? Nothing very complicated, a simple primer. And I sanded it very, very lightly with a very light sandpaper, very fine sandpaper, and that's it. Now normally, sometimes I would put a layer of linseed oil over this, so I would dab it like this with my cloth, a little bit of linseed oil, and rub it on the canvas. But it's a very small canvas, it's not that big, so I think we don't need to do that. It's just a dry canvas, alright? I have a little drop of linseed oil with thinners, okay, turpentine with a few drops of linseed oil in it. You can see it's kind of a yellowy colour. So yeah, it's just a nice medium to use. It helps the paint flow around nicely. You can see I have a quick sketch, just very, very loose. The curl of the wave coming up and the foam, the outline of the foam then very, very rough. We will paint over a lot of this, so it's just a guide, that's all. So let's start. Now I better tell you my colours. I have a new colour that I'm going to try today just for this. I have titanium white, phaylo blue, I have cobalt blue, some crimson alizarin, some cadmium yellow pale, some naples yellow, a little black, and a little cerulean blue. That's a new tube that I got just to try it for some different types of, especially for seascapes now, and even for landscapes. This is a beautiful colour as well. I used this a lot in the past, going back 10 or 15 years ago, but I just stopped using it then. I don't know why, but I said I'd try it because we have lots of lovely turquoises in this, and that will give you a lovely creamy turquoisey colour, I imagine, mixed with a little bit of yellow. So that's it. I suppose we could just start with the sky. Now the reference photograph is more square, isn't it? So I just kind of brought this out a little bit, that's all. I'm going to go with a nice medium stubby brush, dip it in your turpentine once, give it a little dry. So let's try a little cobalt blue. I can see the sky there has a little cobalt blue in it. So cobalt blue, some titanium white, and it's a really pale colour, isn't it? Cobalt blue is a very warm kind of a blue. It's a very light, but it has a warm hue to it. So it's perfect for something like this. If you want a warm kind of a sky blue colour, that's wonderful. I like that. So you can see now how the paint is just gliding across my canvas nice and smooth, isn't it? Because it's a very smooth canvas now. Very, very smooth. Now a bit more white. As it comes down, it's almost just white then as it gets right down. So I'm just going to go as far as here, and I'm just going to soften this all the way across. The mix is quite thick now at the moment, a little bit on the thick side. Now, bear in mind, at this stage, what I would do is look at that wave, the foam on the wave, right? And what we need to think about is, this foam on this wave is a kind of a very light grey, white kind of a colour. So I want something dark in the background to kind of bring that forward then, to stand out nicely, you see? So what I might do is, it's not on the reference photo, but I might darken this blue just ever so slightly higher up, just so that we have a nice bright foam then standing out. Do you understand? And I'm going to soften all of this here, just soften it kind of quickly together. And then I'm going to clean my brush, I'm going to dip it in my turpentine once. So dip it in once, pick up a load of turpentine, and then soak it onto a bit of tissue like that, you see? That's the best way, I think, of cleaning brushes, without ruining your turpentine. See, my turpentine now is still relatively clean, you see? So let's go again. I'm now going to just dip into a little white on its own. And I may take, let me see now, it kind of comes out to a sort of a greyish tone, doesn't it? Let's try a hint of black. Now, a tiny hint of lamp black. The lamp black is a warm black, so it will have a natural warm kind of a shade to it. Do you understand? It has a natural warm kind of a blend in it. So I'll go with that for now. And remember, I want to keep it light as well in under this crest. So all the time I'm thinking light against dark, dark against light, light against dark, all of the time. So depending on what you're painting, just remember you need something kind of, if you're painting something bright, you want something dark in the background to show that off, really, don't you? So, you know, there's a lot of that going on, or I'm thinking a lot of that. So let's just soften this right up now into that blue sky. You see, and I like to work quick. That's just kind of come naturally to me. I like working kind of quickly when I'm working on a canvas, especially with painting like this. I like to just work quickly and work right along quickly. It's just, I know it's probably a bad habit, but it's kind of the way I taught myself going along. Now, I don't have to worry about all that off in the background, okay? I'm not too worried about all of that. I'm just going to keep it simple for now. So that's the background pretty much done. We can now move on to the water. Now I'm thinking, what should I do first? Well, let's see. What I might do is perhaps do all of this foam coming down here. I think that would be a nice way to start. And I'm going to use this medium stubby again. You see the way that's all splayed out? That's going to be lovely now for blending colours together, because it'll be very rough and it won't be like a sharp brush stroke. So let's just give that a little clean. Little bit of a clean. And I'm just going to go into a tiny drop of turpentine first, okay? A tiny drop. And pick up some white. And I'm going to go up here just for now, and I'm going to just soften that white in to that foam up there, okay? This is just kind of an under colour now, a base coat kind of a thing, okay? You know what I mean? Just a base coat, that's all. Just to get the shape of it. And you can see what I'm doing, I'm kind of flicking it upwards like this. So just flicking it up at a slight angle, coming around, softening it into the sky. You see? Very simple. Very, very simple. And I will then go to my darker colour down here. So there's a couple of different shades now going on down here. So we start with, I'm going to make a dark mix. I'm going to go with some phaylo blue. I'm going to go with a hint of cerulean blue, a hint of that. So that keeps it a nice kind of a turquoise shade. Then I'm going to take up a hint of lamp black. Now I'm just glancing to and from the palette and the reference photograph constantly, just to kind of match up the colour as best you can, okay? Now let me just go with that for now, and I'm just kind of going around in circles, filling that in all the way across. Don't worry if it's not perfect the first time, you can change this now as we're going along, okay? We can change all of this. And go up around here. Then I'm going to go into some cobalt blue as it comes up. So it's going to get slightly lighter in shade, look. There we go. And just remember, just to keep that outline nice and curved. You see the way it kind of comes around like that, curves down, and goes in like that. Okay, let me see now, I'm going to soften this. I'm kind of going around in very small circular motions, you see. Soften this up like that, into that wave. And I'm even dabbing as well, look, a couple little dabs. Just to sort of help soften it through, but not completely. Understand? That makes sense? Now I'm going to put this down because it's a little bit too big, you see. And I'm going to take another one, a small flat brush, but this is kind of splayed out now as well. It has a lovely sort of open here. You see it? Perfect for little dabbing techniques and all that kind of thing. So I'm going to go in here and put a very dark colour in under here. I'm going to take some lamp black. And I'm using tiny amounts of paint now, okay? Just tiny amounts. A little bit of lamp black, a little bit of Perusian. And I'm going to go in under here. I'll take a bit more, just a little bit more. And then I'm going to go in under here. It's really dark, isn't it? Now, it's probably a bit too much on the black side, so let me just rub it off, okay? Take a bit more cerulean. And I'm going to then take a hint of cadmium yellow. Just to make it that little bit of a turquoisey, dark turquoisey kind of a green, okay? And then I'm going to go in under here. And I'm going to just kind of... It's a very sort of a loose, free technique, really. It's very difficult to explain. It's, it's not dabbing, it's not rubbing the brush, it's sort of just being very loose, dabbing here and dabbing there, and then just letting it sort of dart out here and there, you see? Just a little bit. Now we will use our fine brush as well in a moment, our fine detail brush, to get some proper little details, but I'm just getting all this lovely rough kind of work done, just for now, okay? Just to get all this, I'm just focused on getting all the darks in. Let's come around here and try a bit out here, look. I'm looking at where the darks are. I'm just kind of filling it in with the darks. And you see we have a couple of sort of bits falling off of that, little bits of spray. Okay, coming down like that. Alright, now I can see then there's a bit of cobalt blue going on. I can see some cobalt blue up around here. And it's very dark around that edge, isn't it? I may take a hint of crimson, just to warm it ever so slightly around there. I'm dabbing it then just to kind of soften it in to the rest of the wave, you see, as it comes across, dabbing it in. So now I'm going to move to a very small pointy brush. Okay, very small pointy brush. I'm going to take some real dark colour, some phaylo blue. Let's go with just some phaylo blue even, just on its own. And let's put in a couple of, you see, where it's kind of coming off. And I'm only just sort of, again, letting the brush dart around. That's all I'm doing. And I may then go with some black just in around here, okay? Just like that. And then leave it soften in to the wave, like so. Now I'm going to take a little bit of the black there, a little bit of, it's sort of a bluey black with a hint of white, and I'm going to come up here and just sort of create the way it's kind of softening into the foam. Okay, just like so. Now the dabbing technique again is perfect for this, you see? It gives you a perfect kind of blending of the colours in together. You agree? Okay, moving along now, I think I'll go up and I will get the shadow of the foam in. I think it might be a good idea. And that colour, let's have a look at the colour now. I see there's a kind of there's a very sort of a grey tone going through it first. So a little bit of a grey just going through it up here. So I'll make a bit of a grey first. And I'll go with just some black and some white. And I'm going to just sort of soften that just here and there. And then again, I'm going to sort of stipple it here and there into the white, you see? And it all merges together. Now, I beg your pardon, I'm then going to take a little bit of a darker colour and I'm going to go, there's a couple of very kind of dark, crisp shadows here and there. Alright, soften it along. Like so. It's really fun just doing something like this. It's very sort of loose. You can do a lot with this, you know. And I know my mum would have loved something like this. Now I'm going to take a little bit of cobalt blue and a hint of white. And, excuse me, awful cough today. I'm going to go up here with that colour. And I can see a very, very strong kind of a cobalt blue sort of a colour kind of creeping in around here. Don't know if you can see it or not now, but it's there. I can see a little bit of it. You may see a different colour slightly. I kind of see a cobalt blue. Then I'm going to pick up some cerulean blue and put a hint of that in there. So I'm not mixing them together completely, you see. And then I'm going to mix a nice turquoise. I'm going to go with some phaylo blue, a little hint of cadmium yellow, and a hint of white. Now a bit more yellow in this because I can see it's a very greeny blue around there. Alright, just like that. And I'm doing small circular motions just to sort of bring all this together, okay? You see, very small circular motions, and that'll give you the rough texture of the wave as well, the rough feeling of that wave, of the foam kind of curling around. Now, I also see, I'm going to clean this down very quickly, alright? Just very quickly. And I see a very light turquoise colour, which is absolutely lovely. I see it just down in here. There's a very light hint of a bright green kind of turquoise colour popping in here and there. And I put a hint of it perhaps just up here as well. Smallest little hint, okay? And then around that I'm going to put a nice dark colour just to show this off. There. Now, not bad. It's, you know, it's progress. You're slowly changing things as you go. That's what you want. You see, I'm just looking for little dark lines anywhere you see. Just kind of, just put them in. So it looks somewhat similar to your reference photograph. Doesn't have to look exact now, by the way. We've a very kind of a dark area here, don't we? Just look at the lights, look at the darks, and just put them in. You see, you can soften them out. Okay, now I'm going to leave that. Sit back, take a look, see what you think. Okay, there's another thing I want to fix on this, and that is I just want to put a little bit of a light foamy kind of a texture. I'm going to take some of this light green and a hint of the blue. I just want to put a little bit of that in here, okay? Just to create the curvature of this kind of foamy wave coming around here. Just a little bit of light just in underneath. It's catching a little bit of light. Well, that's fine, that will do. Rightio. Now, there's one more thing I wanted to do, just to kind of finish off this area. I just want to go along with some crisp white paint. Now a clean brush, okay? Very rough clean brush. Some crisp white and perhaps even a hint of Naples yellow. Now, I don't see the Naples yellow on the reference photograph, but I think a little hint of that would make a big difference. Just sort of catch the light on some of this. Okay, let's take another little bit. So it's very bright, highlighty sort of a yellow colour. So as if it's really sort of catching the sun. Do you understand what I mean? But there is really a lot of white in this. So I'm just kind of dabbing it very gently here and there. So it's very rich bright against a very dark. And see, now there's another little bit around there. And I'm cleaning the brush every so often, just to pick up another fresh amount of white, and then pick up some white on its own and add some more texture to that foam there, you see? Just white, nothing else. And I may soften it just a little bit more here. Okay, again, give it a little dab. Take a bit more white, and we'll go up here and put some really bright dabs in here. And then soften it right through. And there we are. Look at that. Isn't that lovely? So that's kind of the basic foamy section finished on the wave. You don't really have to go back and do too much detail on this. I wouldn't, to be honest. I would keep it nice and simple. Perhaps put a hint of cobalt blue just around here. Sort of let that soften it very slightly. There we go. Now, okay, done. Moving on to the nice dark area in here. And I will go back to my medium brush again. I'll use my medium brush for most of this, for the filling in. And we're going to do a lot of mixing here now. So I'm going to go with some phaylo blue, some white. Now, lots of turpentine in this, okay, but not very watery, just nice and creamy. So you can cover a lot of area. Phaylo blue, little white, and let's go with some cadmium yellow, pale. And then again, more white. So adding lots of thick paint together now, you see it? Lots of colour. Let's take some more cadmium yellow. It's a very bright, greeny kind of bluey colour. Now I would go with that just for the bulk of this area here, okay? Another drop of turpentine, perhaps a little hint of Naples yellow. And Naples yellow will make it nice and pasty and sort of chalky. And it's going to be tricky in this technique now, trying to get all this sort of rippled effect on the water. That's going to be tricky. So we may have to mess around with some knives, palette knives and brushes and that kind of thing to get that effect. But that's the beauty of painting, isn't it? Trying to figure out how something is done and how you can do something to make it look that bit more realistic, let's say. So I'm going to take some cobalt blue now as I come in, as it comes down there, maybe a hint of phaylo actually, because it's a bit stronger, and it's kind of getting more blue as it turns and comes down. let's just fill all of this in. And remember, the most important thing about all of this is to follow the direction of the wave, okay? So bring your brush strokes around in a curve, and already that will make it more believable as a wave curling. You see what I mean? Now let's take a bit more phaylo, a bit more cobalt, and I'm going to go up here and bring that in, because it gets that bit darker as it comes up. And what I might do is just separate it from that blue there, just for now. Okay, just for now. And let's get some more of that lovely turquoise colour, some phaylo blue, cadmium yellow and some white. And I'm going to go in here and just scrape it across like that. So I have a nice sharp edge there then, you see, separating that dark. And we go up here. I may make it a bit darker up here. So I'll take some cadmium yellow, some phaylo blue and a hint of black. So I want it a bit darker up around this side. And it is actually very dark up here in the shadows. So pull the wave around, you see? Pull it around like that. So now we have the basic colour, let's say, of that wave up there. Now, the next thing I would do is probably come down and get all of this in. I think that's what I would probably do next. Let me see. Yeah, we can just go along and mix a nice dark blue for this first. So let's mix a nice dark blue. Some turpentine, some phaylo blue, nice dark blue, and I'll take a hint of crimson this time, just to warm it slightly. And let me just fill that in there just for now, okay? So mix plenty of this. Phaylo, a hint of crimson. There we go. I won't go all the way to the horizon line, not just yet. I'm just going to fill this in all the way across. And it's nice and wet, nice wet colour. More phaylo, more crimson, maybe a hint of cadmium yellow this time as it comes across. A hint more of crimson. So as it comes across, it's getting more and more on the greeny side then, isn't it? So now I'm hoping this is going to turn out okay. You know, I'm not absolutely sure if it is, but I am hoping. It's very difficult to know how something is going to turn out, especially something like this. Now let's take a bit more crimson in that and a hint of white. And I'll take a hint, maybe a little more crimson and a hint of black. And just for the distance up there, I'm going to put that soft mauvey kind of a grey across there. And maybe just use your finger and, let me see, now it needs to go up a bit more here, does it? Just soften it across into the sky with your finger perhaps. How about that? Okay? Oh, you see? A little bit of paint on the finger and it makes a big mess. I can fix that in a moment. What I'll do is take a little bit of white on a brush, small bit of white, just go over that. There. Not too bad, is it? And then let's bring that colour, soften it down into the dark blue. There we go, softening it right down. Now, you will see, now I'm going to move to a flat brush for this next part, okay? A nice kind of a flattish brush. You'll see on the very edge of this here, there's a very dark colour. I'm going to use phaylo blue, little black, and some cadmium yellow, okay? It's a real rich dark greeny kind of a bluey colour. So I'm just going to put that in here first, and that's a nice kind of separation then between the wave and the sky also, and the water down underneath. So I'm going to soften that up and let it flick up then and soften away. And then underneath that we have a nice bright bluey whitey kind of a colour, don't we? So I'll give that a quick clean, and I may actually change brushes. I'm going to go to a really nice, really flat new brush, okay? It's just synthetic, a regular synthetic brush. I'll take a hint of cobalt blue, lots of white. Okay? And now this will soften in to the paint that's already there, so follow the curve. Okay, just like so. Following the curve all of the time. Bit more cobalt blue. And you may wish to leave the paint dry a little, and that's completely fine as well. You can do that. I'm going to try a little cerulean blue now with cobalt blue and some white. And let's try, see, it's kind of a soft blue I'm kind of looking for. And I'm going to let that then soften out into that dark colour, you see. Very slowly, very carefully. Okay, just like so. Now coming along, I'm going to continue on with that colour. Some of that and some of the cerulean. I'm just going to continue on for now. Coming along, just like so, and then it sort of stops around here, doesn't it? Then we get to some darker colours, don't we? Now, we have a darker shade just here, coming along. We have a very dark shade, and it's basically a case of darks and lights. Understand? That's all it is, darks and lights. So let's get a dark greeny blue here now, okay? And I'm going to just put that in, like so, you see? Little flick, here and there. And very gently kind of soften it into that colour underneath. So you can see now we have different layers. And again, cleaning your brush, always keeping the brush very clean. We have a very bright whitey green up there, don't we? So let's take some cadmium yellow, try some cerulean blue with that, and lots of white. It's a very bright whitey kind of, it's a bluey green, isn't it? Let's get some more cerulean. And I'm going to just go along, flick that in there like that, okay? See, pulling it down and letting it kind of soften into the colour underneath again. Now, we have even a brighter colour again. I'm going to go with some phaylo blue and white. There, look, that's better now, isn't it? And for me, it's just a case of going along and doing all these different sections. That's all I'm doing. I'm picking out little sections and just putting them in. So some phaylo blue, some cobalt blue. I can see a very rich kind of a blue popping in here and there. Now a tiny bit of thinners just to kind of make that flow that little bit easier. A little bit of cerulean, and we have some of that here as well. I can see that kind of blue popping out slightly. Okay, a little more thinners, some cerulean and some cobalt. Now the thinners is very important because that's what helps all the colour sort of flow along on the canvas, okay? Then I'm going to take some of that cerulean, some phaylo, and a little hint of cadmium yellow. Make it slightly more of the green. And I'm flicking it up like this, you see? Softening all that together. And that's already kind of giving you the curve of the wave then, isn't it? Now we have a couple of nice rich darks coming into it up here. And it's kind of a very dark bluey colour. I'm going to take some phthalo blue, a hint of black. Now I need to get more phthalo because I've run out. There it is. So all this I'm doing here now is the preliminary kind of work, to kind of filling in, getting the shapes on, getting the different colours separate, and then we'll go on with our brush later, or our palette knife even, and we'll get some lots of thick kind of paint going on. So I'm just going to go up here now, and we have a very dark kind of a shadowy colour coming down. It's kind of catching the shadows from above, I presume. See? And it's following the curve all of the time, you see? So we have another one kind of coming along here. And then it sort of breaks off again, very thin kind of lines. Okay, it comes down here, you see? Just keep it nice and loose. A little more phthalo. Alright, let me just soften that, straighten that a little bit more. Okay, that's coming on quite nice now so far. I'll take a little pointy brush and I'm going to get some phthalo blue and a little hint of black. And I'm just going to go and put a few little darks over here. So you can see a lot of little darks as well there. And I have a couple of very nice darks coming along here. So the dark lines then, you see, will show up those bright lines. And that's kind of the trick, I suppose, with something like this. The darks will show up the lights and the lights will show up the darks. So make your brights very bright and make your darks very dark. And that will really kind of catch your eye. Okay, kind of coming along now slowly. Now I will do a bit of knife work there as well. So let me try, go with this one, okay? I'm thinking just white on its own. If you have only a pointy knife now, you can just use your pointy knife as well. So let's just try and get some nice bright highlights, you see? Again, following the curve. Don't forget about the curve, that's very important, okay? Probably the most important factor. You have to follow that curve. And I can see a little bit coming around here. As it comes off, there's a little touch of that bright just here and there, you see? As it kind of goes off up here. And then we have this bright green, which I'm going to use the knife for, see? And the knife just gives that bit more of an impact, doesn't it? Now, the thing with the knife is, if you're trying to do it very slowly, it tends to wiggle, but if you give it a quick flick, you get what you want a little bit easier. See? Little quick flick. Now, okay, I'm going to leave that for now, and I'm going to make a nice turquoisey kind of a green colour there. Let me just see if I can get that bright. I'm going to just add a little dab of that here and there. Okay. Just to break up this area just a little bit. We have a very light colour. Now, okay, let's take a look and see how we're doing. First of all, now I'm going to soften this with my soft blender brush. Cross back over here, okay? Just like that, just once. And let me see now. I'm not worried about all of this, we can do all of this last. I'm going to try and go up here now and get this done. This is going to be the tricky part. Well, not tricky as such, but there's going to be a lot of messing around up here now with this. I'm going to first of all now clean my brush, and I'm going to put in new, fresh turpentine, okay? So, where's my turpentine? I have it here, pre-mixed, look. Turpentine with a little drop of linseed oil in it. There's no exact measurement for this really, just 70-30 we'll say, okay, or 80-20. You get the idea. Right, some nice fresh turpentine, there we go. And I'm going to mix a very bright colour now. You can see that very bright colour, it's like a very whitey green, isn't it? I'm going to go with some Naples yellow. I mixed it in here in this bright colour. Some cadmium yellow, lots of white. And there's a hint of blue there then as well, isn't there? Let's take a hint of cobalt. Now let's just have a look at that. See, it's even whiter than that, isn't it? It's almost just like, dare I say it, like a suit, like a phaylo blue with white perhaps. Wouldn't it be? That type of a colour. Very, very bright colour. Let's go with that. Now it's going to soften into the colour that's there as well, obviously. So that'll be quite nice as well. I'm just going to put a kind of hint of that colour through here and there. Right. I'm just messing around now with the brush, trying to get that colour in. And let it soften down then. Here, look. Softens right down. Now, it is much darker here as well. I'm going to make that a lot darker. So I'm going to take my small flat brush, some cerulean blue, some cadmium yellow, and perhaps a hint of crimson. And I'm going to just get this nice and dark here, okay? I want this nice and dark. There we go, that's a bit better. Perhaps even a hint of cerulean on its own. There we go. Okay. And what I'm going to do next then is I'm going to kind of soften this slightly together with my soft brush, look. Just with the very tip of the brush, soften it very lightly together, just to take the kind of edges off of all these little strokes, okay? Now normally I would spend maybe 2 hours or even 3 hours doing lots of this little detailed work, but because it's a tutorial, I'm just going to try and sort of give you a very loose impression of what I would do, do you know what I mean? So, how about if we just go with a palette knife? We try doing this with a palette knife. What would you think about that? First of all now I'm just going to go in under this here, fill that in with a light kind of a blue. Then it's going to kind of soften together very slightly, you see. There we go. Messing around with this and having fun. That's all it is. Okay. Now, I'm thinking, yes, well, how about a knife? How about a palette knife? Should we try the palette knife and see what we can do with that? I think we should. Let's get some white. Little hint of Naples yellow. And a hint of phaylo. I want a very brighty whitey green, okay? And let's just go and scrape that across, okay? Here and there. Let's just try this and see how it goes. I'm not hoping for any miracles, but let's just see what happens, yeah? And so it's all about trying it, isn't it? If you don't try it, you're never going to know. Alright, I'm going to go slightly darker. That's a little bit bright, isn't it? I think it needs to be a little bit more on the green side, I think. A little bit more yellow in that. And we can add some of that colour down here as well. So going along now with the knife, you see. And it does get to a stage in every painting, I think, when you almost stop looking at the reference photographs. Does that make sense? I think there does kind of come a stage in every painting when that happens. Now, I haven't got there yet. I'm still looking at that photograph constantly. And a couple of bright colours up there. I'm just sort of almost going around in little circular motions. Okay. But again, try this yourself. You might have your own techniques for doing all of this. You know, whatever works for you. So I say you don't have to copy this exactly. Now, let's stand back for a moment. Take a look at this. I'm going to take my small splayed brush and I'm going to take a little phthalo blue with white. And I can see a nice stippled kind of a colour just around here and there. Okay, just a little. And then I'm going to go along under that with a very small pointy brush. I'm going to go for a very dark colour, some black and some phthalo blue. There's a very dark, just to separate that from the underneath of the wave, okay? To separate the kind of the foamy area from the rest of the wave, because it needs a bit of separation, doesn't it? I think it does anyway. Just a little like that, you see. You could even soften it through as well. I hope this is turning out alright. I think it's not too bad so far. Get a little bit more dark around here. Okay. Now, we also have a very kind of a dark colour in the green. Let me just finish this here now first, okay? Let me just come along across here. I need some yellow in this. Make a very dark green. Now, I could even probably use my small brush. I'm going to mix a very dark, bluey kind of a green. So let's take some phthalo blue. Now, lots of thinners in this, okay? Lots of thinners. And some cadmium yellow. Take our time now with all of this. And we have this lovely sort of... I'm just using the side of my small brush, okay? And I'm flicking it downwards. That's all I'm doing. Let's get some more. Phthalo blue. Cadmium yellow, very rich colour. And I'm just trying to create some of these little ripples that you can see. As I said earlier, this is going to be a very tricky technique now to kind of to get right. But let's just try it. Okay. And it's very kind of strong down around here, doesn't it? And we have a lot of that kind of going in over here, creeping in to the painting. Get a bit more on the green side as it comes over. Now you can use your knife for this as well, if you like. It's entirely up to yourself. Alright. Let's take some more yellow, some more thinners, and some more phthalo blue. And we have a lot of that dark coming along here. We have a very strong amount of that up here, don't we? It's very, very dark. So just play around with it, just have a mess around, you know, just see what happens. It's all very, very, this is all very loose. I'm trying to keep this all very loose. I don't want to be making this too complicated for people to follow, do you understand? So I'm not going to kind of spend too much time on it. I think now I'm going to move down to this area down here. I think this area needs a bit of work. I'm going to first start now with some very bright colours here with my knife, okay? Let's try a bit of the titanium white, and let's take a hint of the cerulean, and let's just bring this down and out, okay? And I'll soften that with my soft blender brush. Let me just clean my blender brush now with some paper tissue here, okay? You can see it's quite dirty. Let's just drag that off out like that, you see? Now, small flat brush. I'll go with the small flat. I'm going to mix some nice dark colours now for down here, okay? We're just going to make this very loose. Some phthalo blue, a little bit of black. And plenty of thinners in this, okay? Nice and soft and creamy. And let's just go along and look, create sort of a wavy effect. There we go. It's sort of a hit and miss. That's probably the easiest way now of describing this, a kind of a hit and miss affair, sort of just catching the canvas just here and there. I'll take a little drop of crimson in that as well. You see, it's just a simple way of creating a very rough ocean surface, look. You know, let's not be too fussy about it all. Okay, then I'm going to take some black and some yellow and a little touch of phthalo, and I'm going to make a very dark green just to pop into it here and there. Again, complementing the rest of the painting, you see. Now I'm going to put a slightly lighter green in there as well, because some of this colour will come down. See, just pop it through here and there, very lightly. And then I'm going to use, I can see a kind of a cobalt blue and white sort of a colour down there as well. So I'll try some of that. There we go. Now that's a bit bright, isn't it? Let's go for a bit more blue. I'm just going to pop it through here and there. And I see some cerulean as well. I'm going to get some cerulean in there. Lovely bluey kind of a green colour. I might use this a bit more actually now on some of my landscapes as well. It's quite nice. Okay, now let's sit back for a moment and take a look at this. Right, I'm going to take my small brush and let's get some nice dark colour with the small pointy brush. Let's get some nice kind of little bit of detail with this. Okay? There we go, and a couple of darks kind of coming down into it like that. I'll take a little black. I can see a lot of darks along the bottom here. I'm going to just, with the pointy brush, just a couple of little flicks in here and there. It's just nice to add a little bit of detail, I think, isn't it? Then I'm going to use the same brush and get some phaylo blue with white. I can see a nice phaylo blue with white kind of a colour passing through here and there. Perhaps even just a very strong phaylo blue. See, that's quite nice now, isn't it? And then some of that light kind of green. We have a lot of that light green then as well. That very whitey kind of green. Up here I can see some of that sort of creeping in. Very, very, very lightly. Okay, and a little bit of it around here and there. So how are we looking now with this? Now what I might do is, with my blender brush, I might just dab very slightly on some of that, just to soften it a little bit. I think it's just a little bit too rough and kind of ruffled, isn't it? So I might just dab it and soften it very, very, very gently through, okay? Okay, that's much nicer. And let me see now, I think I will take my palette knife and perhaps get some nice bright colours just inside on the crest of that wave, some naples yellow and some white, and I might just put a hint of some of them where they really catch very brightly. Couple around here. Again, following the wave. Now, I will stipple this very carefully over there. Alright. We're nearly there really. There's not a huge amount now left to do on this. What I might do is take a nice dark grey. I can see a nice dark grey now in the wave up here. So I'm just going to take some black and some white, and I'm going to put a dark grey along here, okay? Just for now. Then I'm going to get the same brush, which is clean, relatively cleaned, and I'm going to take some nice bright white and put some nice bright white here and there in front of that grey, just a little, pop it through here and there. And I'm going to make it bigger up here actually, look, I'm going to widen the wave up here, that foam. make it a little bit wider. I think it needs to be a little bit wider because as it's coming towards you, it's getting higher up, isn't it? I think that would be a much nicer effect. Okay. Little flick outwards. Now, how was that? How about adding a tiny bit of detail just in around under here? We can make our own details as well. Take a bit of yellow and a bit of white, and we could just kind of add our own couple of little marks here and there. Okay, just a few. And we could add a couple here as well. Okay. And I think we need a signature on this. Because if there's one thing I always forget, it's a signature. Now again, this is only just a tutorial, just to show you a very kind of loose way of approaching this. You can of course go crazy and put all of your own little details in here. It's just kind of to show you, I suppose, how to get started really, and how you could approach this type of a scene. You know what I mean? That's all it is. Normally I might spend maybe 3 hours doing something like this, but it's just not practical from a tutorial side of point of view, and I don't want to be just doing a time lapse because I don't like time lapses. I think it's just taking an easy way out, basically doing a time lapse. Now some of them are great, but I'd rather sit here and have a chat. Does that make sense? Sit here and have a nice chat with everyone. Okay, now we have a little bit of light popping through here and there, and we have a little bit of light under here, really prominent just there. Okay, I reckon we are finished. I think we are finished. Let's just call it finished, yes? Now, let me zoom in and show you how it looks closer up, okay? Let me just get my camera here now. I think we've captured the feeling of the wave. And look, we've kept it simple, haven't we? See, very loose effect with the flat brush. Just flick it from side to side and it just gives you a nice simple effect, doesn't it? So there we are. I'll frame it, and I think that would be a nice one on my wall. I think that would look lovely on my wall inside home. My mother would have loved it, wouldn't she? She loved water. She found water very, very calming. So anything to do with water, I think she loved. Okay, so look, thank you so much for all your support. Again, I apologise for not being around these past couple of weeks. You know, it's even to come in here today and pick up the brushes took a lot. It's just, you know, you have to feel really, really inspired, doesn't it? But once you get going and once you get into the rhythm of it, it's just fantastic, and I'm glad I did, I really am. Because if I didn't, I probably would have waited another week or two, you know? So I'm glad I just did it, you know? If Mum was there, she would say, look, cop on, go and do it. So thank you so much for your support. Thank you for subscribing. If you haven't done so already, do subscribe. Patrons, I have one coming up for you as well very, very soon, a lovely one. So thank you so much. God bless you all. If you have any questions, please do email me, stephenconway12@gmail.com. Pop over to Facebook, have a look at stuff on Facebook, we'll have a chat, you know, become friends, all that kind of stuff. It's all good. Please feel free to ask me anything you like, okay? If you need advice or anything at all, just send me an email, just ask, or if you comment on the comment section below. Thank you so much. I'll see you next week. God bless you all. Thank you so much for everything, and happy painting.